Someone tried to hurt my feelings the other day and they commented that I only ride e-bikes now, and I realized they were right. So we're gonna try and prove them wrong by pedal biking this little bit of trail. I've never actually ridden this, so this will be 2 comments, 1 attempt. Let's get it. Today is also a good day to try this because I have extra lightweight wheels. There it is. Sweet. Hello everyone, let's sit down and go over these wheels I've been riding here. These are the new DT Swiss EXC 1500. Last week, I did a video all about the EXC 1700 wheels. It's another wheel set from DT Swiss, similar to this. However, it uses aluminum rims, and then it uses the 350 series hub, whereas these are carbon rims and the 240 series hub. I've been riding these wheels on both the Ripmo V3 and the Norco Sight VLT TQ e-bike. Now, this video is not sponsored. However, I'm not planning on sending these wheels back to DT Swiss. I'll probably get a wheel set out of all of this. Just want to disclose that. And I did not pay for these wheels. So full transparency as always. This is important. Oh, that's a terrible line.
First up, this is a very high-end, all-around enduro wheel set, and it carries a Category 5 strength designation. This is a big deal. It means the wheel set's rated for both downhill and enduro racing. DT Swiss learned that enduro guys are putting more stresses on their wheels than the downhill guys, which kind of makes sense. Enduro guys have to complete a bunch of gnarly downhill stages, so the wheels are getting downhill level impacts, but 5 or 6 times as many in a given day. The EXC 1500 is absolutely a solution for this.
One thing I want to explain, DT Swiss's weird usage of the word hybrid. For me, a hybrid is like a high handlebar, almost road bike that my parents ride around Europe 4 months out of the year. Sounds sweet, great for bike paths. For DT Swiss, hybrids are these right here. They're e-bikes. And this Pivot Shuttle Amped comes OEM with the HXC 1501, the hybrid carbon enduro wheel set. However, this is actually the prior generation of wheels, and it's being replaced by the HXC 1500s. This rim has been awesome. It's held up great. I've smashed it really hard on this bike. It's still Category 4. The new one's Category 5. This has definitely survived, and I feel good about riding it, but the new one is even stronger.
Now my true love is right here, a bicycle without a motor, and this is where I most wanted to ride these wheels. However, I am juggling a bunch of e-bikes at the moment. The standard DT 240 and 350 hubs are both fully approved for e-bikes with up to 55 Nm of torque, which is not that many e-bikes. But from 56 to 100 Nm of torque, it's a lovely gray area where DT says the hubs do satisfy European safety standards. That said, DT still prefers to recommend the hybrid wheels for this area. Now, this makes sense. These hubs are super burly, but DT is a large company and only recommends something if it can stand behind it 110%. I have had 0 issues running the standard DT 350 hubs on the Norco Sight CX with 85 Nm of torque, and I have absolutely hammered these hubs on some very torque-intensive situations.
Oh, this climb's way better. Wow. DT packs a lot of cool tech in this wheel set. So first up, carbon rim, hookless, really thick bead walls, should survive a pretty good hit. Next, it's an asymmetrical design, which I've ridden DT products for a long time. I've not really seen them do a lot with asymmetrical rim designs. They said they have, but anyhow. The first asymmetrical rim I rode was on my Bontrager in the late 90s, and I couldn't believe how much stronger it was than the original Mustang and Maverick rims. Hello, Choco. So I'm stoked to see that this is that asymmetrical design. It's cool because the spokes end up being very close to the same length, and then the tension on the drive side and non-drive side ends up quite similar, much closer than on a wheel that has to use a lot of dish. Pretty cool setup. Next up, the spokes are DT Swiss Comp Light, and they are hammered, so they're almost bladed. These are quite high-end spokes, very high tension. Thus far, they felt great. We'll see how they hold up in the long haul. Moving down a little, the hub is the DT 240. That's their highest end hub available. The front's available in 15 or 20. If I could do it again, I'd get the front in a 20, because then you can use adapters to space it down to 15, but you can't make the 15 bigger. I like that podium fork. Being the 240 hub, there's a 90 point of engagement ratchet system in there, the ratchet DEG. Here's a quick audio bite. And for comparison, here's a quick audio bite of the 350 series with 72 points of engagement. And of course, this uses the new Degrees of Freedom anti-kickback solution, which I think is one of the best anti-kickback solutions available. I think it's great because it doesn't really come with any sacrifice in reliability, there's no extra weight, and my favorite, I can turn it off. So here's the deal, pedal kickback happens more on some bikes than others. To announce this wheel set, DT Swiss hosted a big media event over in Italy, in the Finale region in Malini, and they actually invited us to go. I wanted to go, but I was too busy with all the videos you've seen in the last couple weeks here, and I stayed home. But those trails are perfect for this solution because they're very rough, they're very fast, and with all those shuttle runs, it makes sense. Here where I live, trails are quite a bit smoother, and on a 2 or 3 hour ride, I'm probably only gonna be going downhill for like 20 minutes, so the vast majority of the time I'm pedaling and I need that control of a tighter drivetrain. So for me, I don't run much anti-kickback. However, Degrees of Freedom has a 0 degree, just straight engagement. It has that minor 10 degree where you get some float, which is pretty cool. And then they have the really big 20 degree, which I would only want to use on a downhill bike. I've tried it. It has way too much deadband for me to enjoy for regular descending. I need to adjust this hub, top of the hill here. I was trying to shift from the really low ratio climbing gears to get into a taller gear to have some meat to push against to get speed for the jumpy, flowy bit coming up here. And when I'm here in the climbing gears, I have so much room in the cranks until it engages. It's really hard for me to know when I'm gonna start driving the bike forward, which means I'm a little bit out of control. Too much free play for this guy. I have like 20 bikes here and not one suffers from much kickback. DT partnered with Propane. Those bikes have a lot of anti-squat and quite a bit of kickback, so it's a great way to feel the difference. And those trails in Finale are great for experiencing kickback. Speaking of Finale, my friend Drew, who runs a YouTube channel called Lone Wolf, was over there and you got to sit down with Anders, one of the guys on the engineering team that came up with Degrees of Freedom. Drew asked Anders what it was like inventing this in that meeting, and check out his reply.
What in your brain clicked to make you figure this out? Because when you look at it, you're like, oh, that seems so simple, right? You're like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, what took us so long to get here?
In the meeting, it was a special meeting. We sat there and then the idea came, what happens when we just cut out some teeth out of one star ratchet and the ring nut? And we were able to rework existing parts quite fast, send it on trail and in the lab. And
you're like, oh my gosh, we did it.
Yes, it feels really good. The function is there.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. Those guys are so proud of this design, and they should be. It's really cool.
Feels really good.
Huge thanks to Drew for sharing that clip with me. You can see his full video from the DT Swiss trip up in the corner. I'll link to it, and I'll have a full link in the YouTube description down below. It takes you over to the Lone Wolf video. Drew's a great guy. I see him at all these events, as well as Cole, Rob. Those guys are awesome.
I first tossed these wheels on the Norco Sight VLT TQ e-bike. This only has 60 Newton meters of torque. I also had the new RockShox Lyric on there, and it all felt really well balanced. The weight was respectable, and ride quality was definitely improved over the stock Crank Brothers wheels. The bike was easier to whip around, and it felt more responsive when pumping. This is an improvement, but if nothing were wrong with the stock wheels, I'd have a hard time justifying the cost simply for that performance gain.
These wheels have really helped me enjoy the Ripmo V3 a lot more. I've been working on my setup with this bike for quite some time, and I finally got it in a really sweet spot. Now, caveat here, I am riding this as a mullet, and usually I don't like mullet bikes that much. They always feel slow to me on flatter terrain. That said, whenever it's steeper, this bike absolutely rips, and I wish I would have figured this setup out quite a bit earlier. I don't know how much of this is due to the wheels being DT Swiss EXC 1500s versus mullet, but this change was absolutely for the better.
On this Ibis Ripmo V3, I've ridden the stock Ibis Sen wheels, the Santa Cruz Reserve 30 HDs, the E13 grapplers, some older Industry 9 Enduro 315 carbon wheels, some newer Industry 9 Enduro 300 wheels, and these DT Swiss EXC 1500. So many terms, so much marketing. However, there is one catch here. This is the first time I've ridden mullet wheels extensively on the little Ripmo. And these EXC1500 wheels feel great. They feel a bit stiffer than the 13 grapplers, but certainly not too stiff. They have more compliance than the Industry 9, which is more comfortable. Now, one of the marquee things about my riding style is that I pump the bike around a ton. That's where the aluminum Industry 9 spokes really shine. I've never ridden another wheel that pumps as fast as those i9s. However, the vast majority of riders don't do this, and it comes as a trade-off for comfort. My local trails are pretty smooth, so I don't mind the comfort loss much at all.
I didn't find these wheels to be too stiff at all. That said, I'm running pretty heavy duty tires. It's a double down casing tire in front and a DH casing here and back. And part of why I'm really excited about this wheel set is I hope to get a more enduro oriented bike here again to ride, something to complement the Firebird. And it's awesome knowing these wheels are gonna be plenty for that future bike. A lot of those enduro bikes are running mullet wheels, so I feel like I am good and prepared. Now the big question, carbon or aluminum? Yes, the hubs are nicer on the carbon. Yes, they're 100 grams lighter per wheel. Yeah, for $1,000 extra, I'd be pretty happy with the aluminum ones. It's not that the carbon ones aren't good, it's just the aluminum ones are exceptionally good. Yes, these are stiffer, yes, they're lighter, but the difference is so thin. That $1,000 gets you a pretty sweet week-long riding trip, and for me, that ride time is more important than having the most uberest wheel set on my bike. Honest and true. Thank you all for watching. Thanks to DT for sending me these wheels. If you enjoyed this video, please leave me a friendly comment down below. Please hit the subscribe button. I can always use more subscribers. And please do hit the bell icon so you know when I post a new video. Usually it's about once a week or so, and it's usually mountain biking stuff. With that, it's time that I get out for a ride. It's been a busy week. All right, everyone, peace and wheelies.